This is Fred Beck from Fred Talks Fighting. Today, I'm very lucky to be joined by Edward from Boxing Fanatico. So thank you very much for coming on, Edward. It's good to see you, mate.
Good to see you too. You're doing some good work. I like your content. I like the interviews are really good. The questions are pressing, so I enjoy that. You're doing really good. So I definitely wanted to come on here, and when you asked me, I jumped on the opportunity.
Blimey, that's crazy you watch my videos. I interviewed Constant Reese the other day, and he's the only other person who said to me face to face on an interview they watch my videos. Yeah, so thank you. You've been
You're
on
welcome.
YouTube. You haven't always been covering the gaming sort of thing. You've been on YouTube doing kind of a lot of the hardcore kind of boxing stuff.
Yeah.
On platform for like 4 years or so. How's that been going?
Mhm.
4 years is a long time.
Yeah, I mean, I've been Boxing Fanatico is an old channel. It only really started taking off though when I started talking about the boxing video games. But that's something that I've always had a passion for, the video games. But I've also had the passion for the actual sport. So I had, both of those things there. When I saw that Esports Boxing Club was coming out, I just decided to talk about it, and just it got so much traction that I was like, oh, I see. So then I angled my channel towards that. But I still every once in a while sprinkle in some documentary shorts about boxing here and there.
Yeah, I understand. I didn't realize how big. I'm not a massive gamer. Obviously, when the game comes out, I'll start playing it. I didn't when I released the first into Ryan Rhodes got like 5,000 views. I was like, wow, people must really. So I started doing more gaming oriented videos. You also stream. I'm right in saying you also stream on Twitch, don't you?
Yes, I do. I stream on Twitch. I'm actually I'm the official commentator for Ring City USA on Twitch. So I do that for them whenever they have their fights. And so the fights are live, and I commentate on it via Twitch. But it's fun. I have my Twitch is almost getting to 2,000 followers, which is big for Twitch. So I think when the game comes out, when Esports Boxing Club comes out, I'm gonna have a good amount of like a good audience to display the video game on that platform.
Is Twitch harder to gain subscribers from, like than YouTube? Which is harder, Twitch or YouTube?
Twitch is definitely harder. I mean, if you look at because I'm big into analytics and everything like that. There's 4 billion users on YouTube, but there's only on any given day about 14 million users on Twitch. So just proportion wise, it's much more difficult to gain a following on Twitch than it is on YouTube.
Yeah, I can imagine. I think lots of the kind of esports boxing club video gamers are really
Hmm.
mainly they do start. They have a YouTube channel or their Twitch because those are the kind of things that link together best.
Hmm.
About esports boxing club, I just want to start with when the game will officially get released. I asked Ryan Rhodes about the release date, and he told me that it'd be kind of Christmas time, which makes sense. Obviously, lots of other video game companies release games at Christmas time because everyone's buying presents to see, but they're signing more and more fighters each time. But then, well, I spoke to Caleb Trax the other day. I asked him about the game, and he said that he doesn't think that he'll be getting scanned for the game. And it's only the bigger fighters that will probably be getting scanned. So I think Christmas time will be the game, will be the time when it comes out. But what do you think?
What do I think the timing of the release date would be?
Yeah, when do you think the release date is going to be?
I think I'm gonna go because Ryan Rhodes is one of the investors into that. He's attached to it. So I'm gonna go with to have an educational guess and not just like something out of nowhere. I'm gonna go with what he said with his December release date. I think he has his finger on the pulse a little bit more in terms of the internal stuff. So I think the safest prediction would be probably December if that's what Ryan Rhodes said.
Yeah, I think December too, and that's the smartest time. I mean, if you start
Yeah.
top fighters want to get in the game, I think they're going to do DLCs. I can imagine. I mean, one thing I was talking to Ryan about that we both got quite wrong. We were almost certain that Tyson Fury and Annie Joshua wouldn't be in the game because they're both in UFC 4 in kind of the
Mhm.
in that EA contract. But now then Tyson Fury's in the game. And I think it was you or Concept Reese who said quite a good point that Andy Joshua wouldn't want to attach himself to a game that no one knows really how good it is yet, and that he could come out as a DLC. What do you think about that? Do you think we'll see Andy Joshua in the game, or do you think he'll kind of join later on as a DLC?
I think one of the things acquisitions of fighters in video games create, to me, a snowball effect. So there, if you get Josh Taylor, for example, that's a mid-tier kind of guy in terms of the the casual fans or, boxing fans. But if you get somebody like Canelo, I think the snowball becomes bigger and bigger. And it sends a signal to other people like, well, if Canelo is in it, if he's willing to be in it, and he's number one pound for pound in the world, and he's not even just the number one pound for pound, but he also puts the most butts in seats and gets the most viewership from other boxers, I think other fighters would say, well, if he sees something in it, if his manager sees something in it, if his team sees something in it, then maybe there's something special here. Because I know that a lot of people are very iffy in getting into a game that they don't know how it's going to play out or how it's going to, end up. But when big name fighters, Terrence Crawford, Lomachenko, Canelo Alvarez, connect themselves to that game, I think that opens the door for people like an Anthony Joshua to connect themselves to the game. And now that Tyson Fury is in it, I think that gives more, it leans more towards that we can get an Anthony Joshua in the game. I think he's open to that, regardless of the fact that he doesn't know how the game's going to turn out, just simply because of what I mentioned, just those fighters attaching themselves to the game.
I guess Canelo and Tyson Fury might make it a normality for big fighters being in the game. Just gaming a second into boxing. Almost one question: who do you think the biggest star is? Canelo Alvarez or Anthony Joshua?
Who's a bigger star? It's possible it could be Anthony Joshua, I think. Canelo used to be the biggest star, but like if you look at his numbers, his pay-per-view numbers right now, he does really good compared to everyone else. But Anthony Joshua can get close to 1 million buys. So I think if I'm being fair, I would probably have to say Anthony Joshua, but I definitely have Canelo as the number one pound for pound fighter and probably the second most popular fighter. Very close. It's a close back. You can flip it between the two, but if I was to have to say a person, I'd probably say Anthony Joshua.
Yeah, I just want to get your perspective on this because obviously I'm in the UK, you're in the US, and now in the UK, Joshua was the UK fighter. I'm a bit biased, so yeah. Yes, to the game. Which fighters do you think you're most likely want to see in the game, which haven't been announced yet? Which fighters are you most looking forward to kind of playing on the game?
Well, if anyone knows me, they know that my number one guy is Shakur Stevenson. That is literally the guy that would be my main character if he was in it. But other than him, I want Andre Ward to be in the game. Of course, I want Floyd Mayweather Jr. to be in the game. He's one of my top 5 favorite fighters. And yeah, those are really the only ones that I feel that I'm missing for me. I know a lot of people want other fighters, but for me, those are the guys that I feel that's missing. And also Pernell Whitaker as well.
Yeah, I understand. Yeah, Shakur Stevenson, he's linked to that fight with Jamel Herring. So if that comes off, then that'd be quite cool. There's only a couple more questions. I don't take too much of your time up. Yeah. So there's a lot of talk about, I think Mike Tyson, he's one that kind of trends the most because obviously when you've got the game is obviously the hardcore boxing fans, it's quite limited. There's not too many of us compared. It's a small world basically. So you kind of want to pull in the fighters which are casual fans. Like if I ask my mum who's Shakur Stevenson, she'll have no idea. If I ask who's Mike Tyson, she'll be like, oh yeah, I know who Mike Tyson is. What are your thoughts on getting Mike Tyson in the game? How do you think that's likely, or do you think it's not very likely? Because I remember Eddie Hearn saying, and he's the biggest promoter in boxing, him saying that he's very hard to get in contact with. He's got lots of guys you've got to talk to.
I think it's very likely that Mike Tyson would be in the game. I don't see any reason for him not to want to be in this game. I mean, people that he looks up to, like Jack Dempsey, is in the game. Actually, Jack Dempsey is his favorite fighter of all time. And then Muhammad Ali is in the game. So I feel people that he likes to attach himself to in terms of the fighters he looks up to, the fighters that he sees himself in, I think they're in the game, So for him, I think it's a no-brainer. And also when I see that a fighter was willing to be in a game before, I think that they're more willing to be in a game in the future. So since he was already in the fight night games, that means that his team or his mentality, he has that thought process that he's open to being in a game. So I expect him to, I don't see why he wouldn't be in Esports Boxing Club. If I had to guess, I would think that they would acquire Mike Tyson at one point.
Yeah, it's a good point you suggesting the fighters that he always liked, Jack Dempsey. And I find you always looked up to Muhammad Ali, and they got Muhammad Ali in the game. Was one more point. You really pressed Esports Boxing Club on the story mode. You're one of the main reasons why they might have it in the game. In the new trailer they released, they kind of released a kind of story mode clip of the fighter kind of walking around the gym. What do you think about the story mode in the game? Do you think it'd be a possibility?
Well, they definitely stated that they will have a story mode. However, that clip, I don't think it's story mode related. I think it's career mode related. I think they're going to split between career mode and story mode. They haven't, I don't know if they've even worked on story mode yet, but I do know that they've been building the career mode. I'm all for it. Story mode is something that's going to help a lot of casual fans to get into it. The little story for them to follow through, and just like the NBA games, they kind of do that as well with the My Players. So I think it makes a lot of sense. Am I a story mode kind of guy? Not really, but I do enjoy career mode, but my biggest thing is competitive gaming. So I'm most excited for the online competition.
And they've also got that WBC strap, which would be quite good to see who wins that. Are you good at the Fight Night games?
Yeah, I would say so. I would say so for sure. Yeah. Okay. I used to do the Fight Night tournaments when they used to launch the tournaments when the games would launch. They always had like a small tournament, and I would usually win the regionals and stuff like that. So I was pretty heavy in competitive gaming. I've also represented the United States in a few games competitions.
Oh wow! So you're on it basically. Then you're gonna win that WBC strap.
Well, I'm gonna try. I can't say that I will win it, but I'm definitely gonna try my best for sure.
I now certainly look good in the background of your video. I mean, that looked pretty impressive. All right. Thank you so much for your time today, Edward. That's great speaking to you. So where can people find you on social media? I'll put your channel in the description. Where can they find you on Instagram and Twitter?
For Instagram is at Boxing Fanatico. For Twitter is at Fanatico Boxing. Unfortunately, Boxing Fanatico was taken. But Twitch is Boxing Fanatico as well, and YouTube Boxing Fanatico.
That's awesome. All right, mate. Thanks so much for your time today. That's awesome.
Thank you, Fred. I had a really good time. Thank you. I appreciate it.